Okay, what we're going to do today is I'm going to walk you through step by step how to create the Form 5 title block utilizing the instructions that are given through its learning. So the first thing is to create a Form 5 title block, you're going to open up a new ANSI drawing file from Inventor. So I'm going to go to my Inventor file and I'm going to come up to the File button. I'm going to come down and select New. And this is where we're going to go to open up any new part files or new drawing files. And the symbol that I'm going to actually then open is going to be this ANSI IDW file. So I'm sitting over top of it now. I'm going to select it and then hit the Create button. By doing this, it's going to open up a default blank ANSI drawing file. From here, I'm going to go back to my instruction sheet. And it says, after I open that file, locate Sheet 1. Under Sheet 1, locate ANSI large title block. So this is all going to happen over on the left-hand side of the screen in the browser area. So I'm going to go back to my Inventor. I'm going to slide over to this area, and I'm going to, underneath the Sheet 1, which is right here, if it's closed, hit the little arrow next to it, and then slide down to where it says ANSI large. This is where we're going to then right-click on ANSI large and delete. And what's happened is the title block down here in the bottom right-hand corner has disappeared, and we're now ready to move on to the next step in the directions. And it says under Sheet 1, locate, we did that. Right click on title block and delete it. We're done that. We can slide on down. Next, open the drawing resource folder. Locate title blocks folder. Open the folder and reveal the ANSI large and ANSI A title blocks. What's going to ask us to do next is then right click on that ANSI A and select edit. So we're going to go back to Inventor and do that. So here's the drawing resource folder. So next thing we'll do is we're going to head over here to where it says Drawing Resources. We're going to open up Drawing Resources. Down underneath the title blocks, we're going to hit the little arrow for title blocks. And we're going to come down, and we can edit either one of these title blocks. I'll just right-click on the ANSI Large and hit Edit. So we've got this opened up. I'm going to head back into the drawing file. We've gone in, we've opened it. Here it says to open ANSI A. ANSI A or ANSI Large, either one is fine to edit. Now we come down here to the edit mode. It says in edit mode, you're able to create the Form 5 title block. So you want to erase the title block in the edit space currently, and then we're going to draw this title block as seen using these dimensions below. So what we'll do is I'm going to come back here into the Inventor file, and I need to delete this. So I'm just going to highlight by left clicking and panning over everything here, and then I hit the delete button. Everything is now gone. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to say, okay, we're going to now draw this title block. So we're going to come over 4.5 inches, and then we're going to start working our way down in the increments given, which is 0.58, and then 0.38, 0.38, and 0.38. So pretty simply, I'll just now grab my line tool, and I'm just going to click and pull a line, making sure that this is at a 0-degree angle. I'll do 4.5, and then start coming down, 0.58. And then the next line coming down is 0.38, and then the next line 0.38, and then the last one is 0.38. So now I can come back across this way. This will come all the way over to be 4.5. I'll select and then come back up. Now ready, I can go ahead and start running lines across, and I can very easily do that because I have my lines positioned here so I can use those endpoints to draw directly across for my new title block. And just keep coming across. Then what I can do, go back and just take a quick peek here. I'm going to have to then section off this bottom area on the title blocks with 2 additional lines, and they are 1.5 from the end and then 1.5 from the other side. So I'm going to just go ahead and very quickly just rough in that line, and I'm going to go ahead and then rough in another line quickly. Then I'll grab my dimension tool, and I'm going to select the line to the line and drop the dimension. And what Inventor allows you to do is to be able to input a dimension, and then it will push the line over to the proper orientation. Then I can go ahead and do the same thing again here, 1.5, and then it pushes the line over for me. So now at this point, my title block has been roughed out, and I'm going to be ready now to start adding text to the title block as necessary. All right, so the next step that we're going to do here is we're going to now have to start adding this unique text information. Now, the very unique thing about the Inventor text is that Inventor will create standard text, which is the information here in Gettysburg High School, Gettysburg, PA, and drawing title. The information that's inside of the brackets, that is a unique text that Inventor is going to utilize to look back at the model and gain information about the model. So you will never have to add that information to your drawing file. So let's go ahead and we're going to start with the basic text. We'll go ahead and we'll do Gettysburg Area High School, and we'll put this text in very quickly. And then we'll move down into the drawing title information. So I'm going to go back here to Inventor. And here I'm just going to grab the standard text tool from the top. If I pull down, there's two options. But I'm just going to grab the standard text. So I'll select the text and come to the top cell and center it close to the being center. Click and pull a window. And now we can go ahead and type in this dialog box the text we want to appear. All of the text is 0.125 in height, so I'm going to go ahead and change that right away. And then I'll come back, select inside of my text cell, and then type in. So I have the information here, and go ahead and add that. Hit OK. And now it doesn't look the same as what I have in the drawing file. So what I'll do is I'm just going to double click on that again and come back in. I can highlight everything, and then I can change this around if I wanted to center the text or change this. I can go ahead and do that by selecting these buttons at the top of the text cell. So I can move this stuff around if I'd like to do so. Now, Area High School is not at the top where it should be, and I can then come back in and select these grip points and then be able to stretch the text out inside of the text box so that I can get it to center itself properly. After I hit escape twice, I can then come back in and I can move the text around on my text box. We want to be able to center this just in the top of the text area so that it looks centered in the cell. Okay, now the next cell that we're going to work with down here in this drawn by area, this drawing title, this is where it's going to be working with some of this unique text. So this is where you want to follow along very carefully. You may end up having to stop the video and go back and look. But what we're going to do here is, again, grab our text box, and I'm going to go ahead and click and pull a text box pretty far across here. And then I'm going to go ahead and just type in drawing title. It's the first thing I want to do. And then what I want to do is I'm going to then have to pull down this information for the unique text. Now, if following along in the information here for the step-by-step approach here, this is where we get into, and it says important, do not just type the info in the brackets. To create the unique text, the text in the angle brackets, and it's highlighted inside brackets, you need to select the text tool, which we've done. Then you need to pull down type and properties of the model, and that's what we're going to go through here. This is where you have to pull down a type, then you have to go over and you need to pull down the property that you want it to look at, and then you have to hit this button to add that property to the actual cell. So coming back to Inventor, in order to get that unique text here, we need to pull down the type selection, and what I want to select is the properties of the model, so that Inventor is looking at the model that I place on the page. From that point, there's a good bit of different options I have here, and this is where I want to select the file name. So the file name that I want Inventor to then use for the drawing title is going to end up going here when I hit this button called Add Text Parameter. And after I do that, I realize that I've also spelled drawing wrong, but then that the file name does appear and it is highlighted. Okay, so we'll go ahead and fix this. And that shows up. When I hit OK, what that looks like in my edit dialog is drawing title file name. Now, what Inventor is going to do is it's going to look at the file name for whatever object is placed on that page. So I'll hit escape twice, and then I can then move my text around here. And it looks like my text is the wrong size also. So I'm going to go in and highlight everything, and then I'll change this to be 0.125 so that it becomes the proper size. Now, in order to show you this process and how this works through and how Inventor sees this, I'm going to go ahead and just hit Finish Sketch right now. And instead of just saying yes or no, I'm going to hit Save As. because I want to rename ANSI large. So after I hit finish sketch, I come here and I hit save as. Once I do that, I can rename this as Form 5 and hit save. And now what I can do is Form 5 is an option in my browser over here under the title blocks. And then I can go ahead and right click and hit insert. And what that does is it adds this title block to the sheet at the bottom. So I just need to change the sheet size so we can see this a little bit better when we actually lay out, because this is a D size sheet. So to change that, I'm going to come over here to my sheet 1, select it and right click, and then come down to edit sheet. Then I'm going to change the size from a D to an A and hit OK. And now that I've done that, I'm going to go and grab an object that I need to lay out, and this is one of the objects here. And I'll just go ahead and move this over so I can see my front, my right, and then my top view. And it scales 1 to 2. I'll hit OK. And it says I need to save this. So I'm just going to save this quickly as part 4 today. And what pops up is part 4 today. So whatever I save this as is what's going to become the title, because Inventor is now looking at this model and looking to the parts or to the file name for the actual drawing title. And that's how Inventor goes back and looks at objects from the title block. Anything that occurs in this title block, in this unique text that comes from the type property, the property itself, and then gets inserted, will then be able to be seen from the information in the model. So continue filling out and walking yourself through this particular instruction, and make sure as you go you just follow through and find all of the proper information from the text. When you get into some of the other aspects of the title block, specifically the idea of the scale, that's initial view scale and sheet number, that information is probably not going to be found in the same places. So when I go ahead and create a text box for the scale and create scale, if I were to go looking underneath the properties of the model, I'm not going to find the initial view scale. So what I need to do is start looking down through the other areas where I can look for things regarding the model. And I'm going to come in to look at sheet properties, and under sheet properties, that's where I can find initial view scale. So then I select the initial view scale and drop that in for the scale. And then I'm going to go ahead and make another text box over here for the sheet, because I'm going to find the sheet number in a very similar place also. So I'm going to pull this down and then find sheet properties, and then I can find the sheet number from the sheet properties. So I'll go ahead and drop that in position as well. I'm going to go ahead then also and just make sure this is stretched out so that the sheet number will all end up on the same line. And then I'm going to pull that down so it's a little more centered. Same with my initial view scale. It doesn't matter if they run over top of each other in this edit mode, because the actual text that gets placed is going to be far smaller. So I'll come out, hit save, and then you can see now that the scale that the part is laid out is now put into the title block for me, and the sheet number is also there. Now when I want to grab a new sheet, another sheet, if I right click over here in this white space and hit new sheet, you can see that that sheet number for number 2 is already placed. And then if I were to go ahead and grab another drawing and place a second drawing into my part here today, let's see, I'll just grab this one. And if I were to just throw this in very quickly, you can see now that that information would now be placed also, the file name as well as the scale. So it's very, very convenient when needing to put information in a title block, that if you fill out the entire title block, all of that information will populate for you without having to go back.